Welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living, a podcast that features enlightening conversations with experts in the medical field that helps to improve the health and well-being of those suffering from chronic pain due to injury. Learn from leading authorities the questions you should be asking to experience pain-free living. Hosted by father and son, Dr. Derek Taylor and Dr. Hudson Taylor, and joined by industry professionals in the health field, including doctors of integrative medicine and personal injury attorneys.
Welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. This is Dr. Derek Taylor, and I'm here with my guest, Maureen Holdreith-Digulimio, gyrotonic instructor and owner of Gyrotonic Jupiter in Jupiter, Florida. Co-owner. And Maureen, welcome to the show. So, Maureen, what is it that, how did you get involved in gyrotonic in the first place? I mean, let's just talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've always been into movement. I was born into a movement family. My mom was a dance teacher and a gymnastic coach. And we go 4 generations from movement. And so I was basically born into a dance studio. And so I've always been into movement. I was a competitive swimmer for about 10 years when I was a kid, but I always continued to do dance and gymnastics. So as life went on, I continued to coach rhythmic gymnastics at a national and international level. And I was on the USA national team training staff for about 10 years and had a lot of success with rhythmic gymnastics and USA gymnastics. And through time moving forward, I became a massage therapist about 20 years ago. Anything that has to do with the body and movement is a passion of mine. And about, I'd say around 2008, I was doing a pilates class with a friend of mine, and she had a studio, and I noticed that she had some new equipment, and I was really curious about it. And I asked her, what is that? And she said, that's gyrotonic. And I said, how can I do this? I'd like to try it. And I tried it, and my body felt so good. I felt so open, and I walked out of the studio and I loved how I felt. I loved how it made my body feel. I just felt so open. I felt like I couldn't wait to get back. I became certified, and I continued to take training sessions from master trainers.
Well, it sounds like you're pretty passionate, but you know what's amazing, Maureen, is that here you've been doing movement all your life, and then you had one session with gyrotonic, and you're like, how do I get certified?
That's right.
You felt a difference, didn't you, in your body?
I did.
But for some people, they have no idea what gyrotonic is.
Yes.
Are you using floor mats? Are you using a certain equipment? Is it
Yes.
a standalone issue? I mean, how does that, what makes it different?
Well, gyrotonic expansion system has 5 different sets of equipment.
Okay.
And there's one main tower with a bench, and there's cables, and there's weights that are attached to the cables.
So it's a combination of cables and weights together.
And it's a pulley system. It's a cable pulley system.
But it's different from like just going in a weight room, right?
Yes. Because there's also a bench, and the bench has 2 handles, and they rotate in a spiral fashion. So you're able to get into different parts of your body that you're not able to get into in other modalities. We work on a spiral fashion, so everything is rotational.
Now, why spiral? Why is that?
It helps to open up the spine and to create more range of motion, but you're also learning the technique, how to stabilize your body and to engage it with breath and movement. And so that you learn how to support your spine with engaging different core muscles within your body before you go into a rotation. So you're learning all this from the very beginning of a session. You learn how to bring the breath into your body to help engage the muscles, so the breath and the movement work together to strengthen the muscles, so that when you do go to move the body in a rotational fashion, you're not compressing the spine, you're elevating everything and
Oh,
engaging, and then you go into the movement with the breath.
that's why you felt so good when you left there. And it sounds like what's unique about it is it just really helps people get in tune with how their body's functioning,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not just a
It does.
rotely just going in and doing, okay, do 10
No,
reps of this. It's really helping the mind connect with, hey, how is this movement engaging here with what's going on with my spine and the rest of my muscles and joints? That sounds fascinating.
it's a mind body workout. So you really have to be conscious of what your body is doing, where it's going, why it's going there, and the breath and the movement go together. So it also helps you to increase your awareness of your posture moving through space in your daily normal activities, so that you become more aware of how you're standing, how you're holding yourself, how you're sitting, how you're engaging yourself when you bend down to pick something up, how you're turning your head when you're looking in the car to like make a
Yeah.
turn.
That's really important because this is how people come into my office. They injure themselves by, they're not even aware of what their body is doing, what's going on.
Right.
They'll turn over the wrong way. They'll just bend the wrong way to brush their teeth and boom, their back is set off.
That's right.
Because all their life, they've never really been taught how to pay attention to what's happening with the joints and the muscles and how things are moving. And it sounds like this is like a tutor to help people understand how their body works.
And how exactly, and how to move. And I have so many people that after their first or second gyrotonic session, they'll come back and they'll say, I caught myself the other day that I was like slouching or I was like slumping. And then all of a sudden I became aware of my posture and I corrected it. And I said, well, that's one of the beauties of what you learn in gyrotonic. You learn about awareness, your body, your spatial awareness, your body as you move through your day in your daily activities, so that you're not just compressing. And I have some, not just older people, but people of all ages, just a simple thing like driving in the car. A lot of times people, when they're driving in the car, they're all just kind of slouched and compressed. And then they try to rotate really fast to look for something really quick, and something catches their attention and then they just pull something or they strain something. Right. And so then through gyrotonic, once they walk out the door, they're really aware of how they're sitting. They're not compressing the spine. They're engaging the glutes. They're what we call floating above the sit bones, is really basically just engaging the glutes so that you're elevated and not compressed. So that way, when you're driving in the car, you're going to notice yourself if you start to slump, and all of a sudden people become very more self-aware of what's going on in their daily life when they're moving through space.
That's fascinating. For decades, we've been trying to help people, pay attention to their posture and pay attention if they're slouching. And everybody knows this is common knowledge here, but
Right.
It sounds like one of the few exercises that really help people to get engaged with this whole process, and they're figuring it out for themselves once they've had a few sessions of gyrotonic, correct?
They are, and they're learning how to like take what they learn in gyrotonic and apply it through the rest of their day and the rest of their life, because it just brings in the awareness of how they're moving through life and through space, just in everyday life,
Right.
And so we give them the technique. They learn the technique, how to engage their body and engage the muscle. And when they're doing the gyrotonic, we add the breath. So it's a really conscious moving. It's not really unconscious, because it's learning the technique that can, you can take anywhere.
So you're connecting the breath to that as well, which sounds
absolutely
really
absolutely.
So how long have you been doing it now for gyrotonic?
Since 2008. So that's what, 15 years.
Yeah. And what has it done for your health and
it's kept me moving.
Yeah.
It's kept me still being able to do a massage and work as a massage therapist. Mm-hmm. And it's kept me being able to teach gyrotonic. It's kept me healthy and my spine healthy, and just to be able to just continue living life the way that I like to live it, and just be active and and to be able to do sports and move and play and
Yeah, I would like to see like a research study with like people that have been doing gyrotonic for decades and
Uh-huh.
see what they're like when they're in their 70s and their 80s and their 90s.
Well, we have some people that have been doing gyrotonic. When Pam opened the studio over 20 years ago, she's had all these students that are still with her, and I am teaching some of them now too, and they are in their late 80s now. Some of them are in their early 90s, and they've been doing gyrotonic consistently for, I think, at least 15, some of them for 20 years. So they started when they were in their 60s, and they continued gyrotonic, and they're still doing it. And
Wow.
these are vibrant people. I have one of my clients that was one of Pam's original gyrotonic clients, and I've been working with her for probably about 6 or 7 years. She just turned 91,
Hmm.
and she does gyrotonic 3 times a week, and she plays golf 3 times a week. And she does it so she can stay mobile and keep moving. And we have a man who's 88 who does gyrotonic
Wow.
3 times a week.
Awesome.
Yeah, and even when they're seasonal clients, and even when they go to their summer places, their summer homes, they continue to do gyrotonic. They have
Mm,
gyrotonic instructors back in their summer homes.
mm.
And so, we have a lot of people that are in their 70s, 80s, and a few in their 90s. It's really for all ages, it's for all
Mhm.
levels, and
Yeah, depending on what
it
the goals
benefits.
are and where they're at.
Yes, yes,
So
exactly.
does it take long to learn how to do the movements? Is it?
It doesn't. It's you can come in for your first gyrotonic session, and you're able to move your body, and you'll be taught the different basic techniques, and it's progressions. You progress at your own level, at your own pace, and we will tailor a session for your specific needs.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. So what are some of the success stories that can you give us a success story of somebody who came
Mhm.
in and they've never done gyrotonic before and then they got on the program with you and how has it transformed their health? Can you think of something like that of
I
somebody?
can. I can.
Can you share that with us?
Um, yes, I have this one client. He is in his, I'd say, mid to late 60s, and he was looking at back surgery. And he didn't really want to have back surgery. He had some issues with his lower spine. And so he decided it was a last minute, like kind of a last resort. He wanted to try gyrotonic. And so he started doing gyrotonic, and he started getting more mobility, more strength. He was able to be pain free, and he became stronger, and he was able to not have back surgery because of
Wow.
doing gyrotonic. And
Great. Well, you and I met because you and I share a mutual client,
that's right.
a wonderful lady who has come into the office here recently, and she was having some issues with scar tissue, and we started a treatment course on her, and she's responded so well. And I we had spoken. She told me that she was doing gyrotonic, and that's when you and I met. You came to the
Mhm.
office. You and I worked together to make sure that the
Right.
program these things would be synergistically working together. And I
That's
just
right.
think
That's right.
releasing the scar tissue with the Taylor method and using the gyrotonic has been an incredible winning combination, especially in light of the fact that this patient has had um, injuries in the past where if she had not been doing gyrotonic, she would not have nearly responded, I don't think, as well, because her spine would have been in good shape. But she would be in looking at a surgery herself. But I think the gyrotonic has really been keeping her fit, and she's got a great mind. She's super alert and sharp. And so my hypothesis as well, I haven't talked with you about this, but I think that if your body is moving like that, your mind is going to be more engaged and it's going to be more focused. And I think it's going to help prevent the degeneration of the mind as well. The whole, it's all connected, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm
It
sure
is.
you've seen that with some of your clients. They're sharper mentally. And
Incredibly so. Incredibly so. Because, if you're going to move your body, and you're going to have to apply a technique, and you're going to have to incorporate your breath with the movement. That's a conscious choice. That's a focus, a conscious, I don't know what would be the right word for that. Like
You're
focus.
just aware. You're
just an awareness.
There's an awareness. You're present. You're engaged. Your mind and body is engaged.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
There's not a disconnect there.
There's not a disconnect. It all comes together.
Yeah. And so when you came and you started doing these exercises, I'll often do that if somebody has, because I encourage our patients, even though they're really bad pain, to continue to the exercises. They just need to modify it a bit.
Right.
And so I've dealt with different personal trainers and other people, and we've talked about different exercises, but you came to the office, you showed me these moves that you're doing. We tested the body with it, and she tested really strong. I was just so impressed with these moves, and you didn't even have your equipment with you. You were just doing this without an equipment. Can people do this kind of work? And once they've been trained by you, can they do this kind of without the pulleys and cables as well? I'm wondering.
We have something called gyrokinesis. That is something that you can do at home on a stool or a chair.
Yeah.
And it's a series of movements that we do in gyrotonic too, but it's all a series of movements with breath and movement all together. And you can do it just sitting on a stool. You can do it sitting on a chair. These are things that you can do at home, or you can come to a gyrokinesis class and do it in a class setting too. So there is, so we have the gyrotonic expansion system is the actual equipment. It's the 5 pieces of equipment that gyrotonic has. And then there's gyrokinesis, which is done on a stool or a chair.
Got it.
So,
fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, this has been, I'm so glad I got to meet you. And I've been, helping people for the past 3 decades, and I've never heard of gyrotonic until recently, until you and I met.
Right.
So when I got a hold of this and I saw what this was doing for this patient and I saw the benefits, I said, we got to let people know about this, because I think it's a real powerful form of exercise that really is beneficial for people's health. So I thank you for being on the show. How can people get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach you? Where's your studio located? Your website, phone number? Can you just give us some contact information?
Sure. Our address is 124 Bridge Road in Tequesta, Florida. And that's just right next to Jupiter, Florida. And you can call the studio at 561-744-7585, or you can reach us on Facebook or Instagram at Gyrotonic Jupiter on Facebook or Instagram, and you can direct message us there too.
Thank you so much for being on our show. I think if you are somebody out there who's looking to do a form of exercise that really engages the mind and the body, helps you become aware of what's going on, helps improve with your posture, and will help strengthen you overall, I think you should give Maureen a call. I think.
And also, you can give, it's either Maureen or Jill. Jill Hallahan is also the co-owner of Gyrotonic Jupiter, and we'd love to talk to you.
Do you guys, how does that work out? Did they just call and then you guys?
They can call and leave a message and their phone number, and we'll call you back and we can figure out how to get you in.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. This has been very enlightening and enriching.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. For more information about the Taylor Method and how you can find lasting pain relief, visit www.drderektaylor.com. That's www.drderektaylor.com.